Welcome to the Migration Report, brought to you by the folks at the Up Duck Podcast, in partnership with the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. Together, we'll bring you weekly bird activity reports from the various regions across the state of Wisconsin. Welcome back to another episode of the Migration Report, brought to you by the folks at the Up Duck Podcast. My name is Tyler Meaden, and I am going to be taking you through this week's update. Today is Monday, November 10th. Yes, my Green Bay Packers play tonight, and we are all excited for that, as well as hearing about all the updates from across the state here. So before we get to those, though, we always got to take care of our housekeeping items. So first and foremost, as always, we are very grateful to the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association and all of our contributors across the state of Wisconsin for helping bring this report to life. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you as always. And if you are listening and you are interested in becoming a contributor, please reach out to UpDuck on any social media platform. We'll talk you through the process to get you started there. I know we only have a few weeks left. However, the more reports we get, the better that this gets. Now, quick spoiler, the whole process is really quite simple. So if you're interested, just reach out. All right. As far as the reports go, right, we are into the heart of November now, which finally meant cold fronts, snow flurries, and fresh birds. Hey, we've all been waiting for that for a couple of weeks now, and it actually happened. So across Wisconsin, it was a mix of pushes. There were still birds around, some frozen backwaters, right? It wasn't, not every hunter is bagging limits, but there were definitely new birds across the entire state of Wisconsin here, which is what we wanted. So let's break it down here region by region. We are going to start in the northeast, actually. So the story here, right, the story here is shifting with the weather. So before we had the big front roll in last Friday into the weekend, right, we still had low water levels and a lot of wind that was making open water hunting really quite tough. Once that north wind hit, really everything flipped, right? The script flipped, everything changed. We had golden eyes and buffleheads that had started to move in. So it wasn't just predominantly bluebills out on the open water on the bay, which meant that hunters, right, if you're out hunting the bay, you're going to see a much more balanced mixed bag and probably more opportunities as well. Further inland in the northeast, right, we had cooler temperatures. We had a touch of snow. We had that steady north wind that brought a solid push of mallards, as well as more geese, right? And they were hammering the ag fields. Not a surprise there. Some of our shallow marshes and smaller lakes, they were freezing overnight. We were getting a little ice on the top of the water there. So hunters who were able to find open water as well as the feeds, they were having the best action in the northeast. Now let's move over to the northwest region here, where it finally feels like November. Snow, sleet, and that hard cold front dropped temperatures really fast. Some of the backwaters, they froze up in the northwest region, which pushed some birds south there. There was some folks who were out and they saw skies full of ducks. We're talking several thousand ducks seen in flight, mallards, ringnecks, golden eyes, some canvasbacks mixed in as well. However, not every hunt was a success, right? Not every hunt lived up to the hype of that. Some hunters did still find stale mallards and a few teal holding tight as well. Others caught, right, small pushes of widgeon and golden eyes moving through. And it depends where you're at, right? That little micro area we're at can be make or break for you as well. Folks in the Northwest did note that pressure really picked up on Sunday morning, right? Launches were real busy. Success varied for those folks who were out on Sunday. With that increase in pressure, right, we had birds moving from refuge to ag fields real quick. And the folks who were able to run traffic seemed to have some good luck as well. Still, water is low in the Northwest. And we did see those shallow areas that were icing up real fast. So mixed bag there in the Northwest. Let's move on around counterclockwise to the Southwest region. So things were what we call a true November swing here. All right, we had that cold, we had a little bit of snow, we had that wind from the northwest, right? it felt like good duck hunting weather. And there were plenty of mallards and geese to be seen. Some of our folks that were hunting small ponds did report steady action pretty much the whole week, actually, with mallards, gadwall, big Canadian geese that were all sticking around. On the Mississippi River here, right, we had divers started to show up there, right? We had canvasbacks, redheads, we had ringnecks show up in solid numbers with the front as well. However, just like in the Northwest, right, folks in the Southwest, not everyone saw the same wave, the same number of birds, the same level of success, right? Some areas still held some stale birds, and the fresh push didn't seem to reach every piece of the southwestern part of the state, even reach every piece of the Mississippi River there. We had a few spots on the backwaters of the Mississippi that were freezing up overnight, limiting access, and that meant the birds were all in the main channel as opposed to in some of the backwaters there, which makes hunting real tough. However, though, right, this front, though, it brought in birds in general in the southwest part of the state. Hunters took notice. Folks were out. There was more pressure. Yeah, it's what we wanted. We've been waiting for the fresh push of birds in the southwest part of the state and really the entire state. And we finally got it too. Now, let's finish in the southeastern part of Wisconsin, the southeastern region, where finally, we had new ducks, right? Those cooler temperatures, those north winds, it brought a welcome change after what felt like the same weather for basically 3 weeks. We had larger flocks of mallards and gadwall that started to show up. Even a few pintail groups started to show up as well. Those fat northern mallards, right? They were definitely the northern mallards. They started to get bagged, right? And the marshes themselves started to sound alive again. From both, right, the push of ducks and from new hunters as well. Still in the southeastern part of the state, low water levels in some parts of that region continue to make access really tough. So, right, just like in some of our other regions, if you're able to find open water and get a nice smart setup in, you're going to see some good results. Or folks did see good results, I should say, in the southeastern part of the state. Right, hunters, they were back this weekend, right? Everybody started to pick up their bow, and maybe some folks filled their buck tag or whatever, but they came back. We had more hunters in the marsh, busier boat launches, lots of volleys across the marsh, more pressure, not unexpected there. We did have some folks that hunted in the southeastern part of the state pre-front. They said that it was real slow early in the week, midweek. Even before the front, we had divers that actually started to arrive. So bufflehead, bluebills, redheads, which helped keep things interesting. They did, some of our folks did feel like the mallards were still lagging a little bit overall compared to where they thought they should be, where expectations were. So that was interesting to note. However, right, that front, the migration and hunting in general, everything is trending up in the southeastern part of the state, which where I'm at, that's a welcome sight to behold and welcome news to hear. Now, the theme for this week really was that change is in the air. Change really was in the air. I mean, it is cold outside. I am certainly not used to overnight temps in the 20s, which is what it was overnight into this cool Monday morning. The cold snap, right? The one we've all been waiting for, it finally hit, right? It did freeze some shallow water areas, but it pushed new ducks into Wisconsin. We needed it so badly. We saw everything from golden eyes across the state to canvasbacks on the river, right? We saw a healthy mix of late season migrants, and maybe some of the best variety of ducks that we've had across the state all fall here, which has been awesome, right? Now, soon we have to worry about some of our favorite spots freezing up before the season closes. However, right, that's coming quick. We're only a few weeks away from that. So this past week, it was a breath of fresh air for all of us duck hunters out there. Now, as we head into next week here, right, we're just hoping that some of these birds stick around, right? Maybe we continue to get more birds, fresh birds to push in. So we'll keep an eye on our eyes in the sky and see what happens here. So that is all for this week's report. If you are heading out, good luck, shoot straight, and be safe, everybody. We'll see you next Monday, November 17th.